So hey boys and girls, how's everybody doing? Q here. Yep, I'm back. And look what I have for you guys today. My beautiful BMW R18 motorcycle. It was time to trade it in for something else. I love the BMW R18. I love the way it looked. I love the way the motor felt. I loved, showing up on it. It always drew a crowd. Everybody is, what is that bike? But the thing is, I took it on a trip to Connecticut for a wedding, and it was quite a kind of a disaster. I mean, I spent so much time on that BMW R18 trying to turn that cruiser into a touring bike. And I've learned that that's just a mistake. If you want a touring bike, buy a touring bike. If you want an adventure bike, buy an adventure bike, etc. You want a sport bike, get a sport bike. Turning a standard into a scrambler, bad idea. Just buy a scrambler. Because what happens is these things never work out very well when you try to use them in ways they just weren't designed for. So what did I trade it in on? Yep, you're looking at it. The Apex Predator, a Ducati V4S. I got this baby used with about 7,000 miles on it, and it wasn't smooth sailing. So after I had the bike for just a few thousand miles, which only took me a couple of weeks, I noticed there was oil leaking from these from the front forks. I also noticed that this nose piece was popped off. And so it appears to me like whoever had this bike before me just thrashed the hell out of it. Hit something or took it on some serious ride with a lot of hits to the front, and they blew the fork seals, popped the front of this off. So that was pretty concerning. Now, if I'd bought this bike from just some guy locally, I would have been screwed, right? I mean, this would have been on me. But fortunately, I bought it from Redline Motorsports in Myrtle Beach, near where I live. And those guys are great, I have to say. Redline Power Sports, Myrtle Beach. I showed them the problem, and even though I'd put a couple thousand miles on the bike already, they took care of it. They took the bike back. They completely rebuilt the forks, rebuilt new seals, did the whole thing. It was like $1,000 worth of labor, and Redline swallowed the entire cost. Another problem with the bike was the tires were shot. They were bald. That was kind of on me. I should have noticed that when I bought the bike. So it needed new tires. It had some TKC knobbies on it. Again, and somebody took this on some kind of a very rough trip. I'm more of a street bike guy, so I put these beautiful Pirelli Scorpion Trail tires, they're called. And so new tires, rebuilt fork, and now this bike is absolutely perfect. And of course, I still have my first love and the bike that I will never sell, my Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. Now when I say never, don't hold your breath, because I've had bikes that I thought I would keep forever, and I didn't. But I bought this puppy brand new in 2022, and it's got over 24,000 miles on it, and I just had it fully serviced. The valves, bled the brakes, changed the fork oil, basically did everything. 2 new Dunlop Battle Max tires. And so this thing's been restored to as good as new. So what do I think of the Ducati Multistrada V4S? Well, it's a rocket ship, and it's got all the electronics, the lean sensitive ABS, cruise control, heated grips, heated seat. And I'll tell you, it gets cold in the winter down here in Myrtle Beach. And so, yeah, I've been using those grips and that seat to keep me warm. It's just a monster of a bike, but it's not hard to ride. The throttle's pretty smooth. It's not snatchy. The bike has all the go in the world you would ever want it to have, but it's a pretty friendly ride. And here's that new Pirelli Scorpion Trail on the front. You can see it's a road bias tire, but I have no problem. I can just bomb down a dirt road on this thing. No issues at all. You might notice that the bike's kind of dirty. I have this thing about cleaning adventure bikes. I think they should be dirty. So, you know, I'll clean it. They warned me to clean those front fork tubes so that grit doesn't get in there and cause them to leak again. But again, I don't think those were leaking because of normal wear. I think the bike was thrashed. As far as the engine goes on this bike, it has, I think, a 50,000 kilometer service interval. In American, that's a 37,000 mile service interval. So this engine doesn't have to be touched for 37,000 miles. I bought it used with 7,000 miles. You know, I can put 10, 20,000 miles on this thing and it's still going to have a lot of life left in it if I do want to trade it in. Oddly enough, I'm already thinking about my next bike. You know, the Royal Enfield Interceptor's a lifelong keeper. This thing is a lot of bike. Now, I bought it used for $18,000. I got a good trade-in on the BMW R18, and that's what really sold the deal. The BMW R18s, you know, the demand is spotty. I mean, there's people who want them, but there's a lot of people who just wouldn't even consider that bike. What the trade-in on this might be, I don't know. I'm actually thinking about buying a new Himalayan 450 and trading this in and coming out of there with a new Himalayan 450 and a check for a few $1,000s. But we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, what I've discovered is that this big, huge bike really isn't hard to ride at all. And I guess I would advise you not to be scared of a big bike like this. For example, the other day I was riding along on the back roads and I was making a left-hand turn and there was a car coming out of where I was turning into. And this car started to make a left-hand turn on right into my path. And I was looking at him, believe me, eyes up, man, eyes up and down the road all the time. He starts pulling out, didn't see me. I did this nice pirouette around him and then yelled at him, told him what I think of him, and went on my merry way. So it's a very maneuverable bike, it's friendly, and the suspension is tremendous. You know, these bikes with this fancy active suspension, man, I take this thing down a dirt road and it just sucks everything right up. So yeah, I'm sad that the BMW R18 is gone. It was a really lovely bike. It was so unique, so much character, right? In the case of the R18, character meant that you had about a 1,000 RPM range to keep that thing in. You had to keep it under 3,000 or it felt like it was shaking itself apart. But the torque, it was all about the torque on that bike. As you can see, the original owner put this Givy, whatever it's called, windscreen on there. It's pretty good. I've already bought a shorter windscreen I'm going to try out. I wish it came with the original. You know, I suggest if you get any motorcycle and change anything, keep those original parts and pass them on to the next owner because it's just the right thing to do. I always do that when I sell a bike. Anything that I've taken off, I include in the purchase. But this Givy is pretty good. It's adjustable and does a pretty good job, but I'm actually thinking I might be happier with less windscreen and a smoother airflow. But I can adjust this thing up and down, super easy. All you do is grab this lever right here, and it comes up quite a bit. It comes up a good couple of inches. And what's so cool about it is you can set it anywhere in this range you want. So it's basically infinitely adjustable. And that's really nice. The levers are adjustable, of course, Brembo brakes, and lots of buttons. And if I turn this sucker on, you can see it's got that lovely dash, and I've got all kinds of controls for heated seats and settings. It's got all kinds of different settings. You can put it in enduro, street, whatever. There's actually a dedicated mode button here, and that's nice. All the switch gear is backlit. So if I click the mode button, I can put it in enduro, which turns off the traction control. Urban, I haven't figured out what that is. Sport is kind of insane. And so basically I keep it on touring until I get in the dirt, and then I just switch it into enduro. So there you have it, boys and girls. I almost feel like a trader when I trade in a bike. You know, if I had a big garage and a much bigger wallet, I'd keep them all. I mean, I've had so many great bikes. But this is top of the line, man. This is the Apex Predator. There's nowhere to go from here in an adventure bike except down. Everybody knows about the 1200, 1250, and now 1300 BMW GSs, and that's considered the best bike ever. But there are YouTubes where guys say this is actually better than that GS, and with that V4 motor, 170 horsepower, and that service interval, man, a lot of pros think that this is even better. A lot of pros think this is even better than the BMW GS. So guys, let me know what you think. Did I betray the BMW R18 crowd, or did I make a pretty good decision buying the used Multistrada V4S? I have zero faults with this bike. There's nothing to complain about with the V4. So like I say, anything I switch to from here, I'm stepping down, but maybe, you know, getting a few $1,000s back out of this purchase. And then the old Royal Enfield Interceptor 650, man. It's all serviced up. It's ready to do another 24,000 miles as far as I'm concerned, with just oil changes, simple oil changes that I'll do by myself. So it's good to be back on YouTube, fellas. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.